everyone, welcome back to the channel. The Harbor Blue Highboy is officially done, so it's 100% finished, and I couldn't be happier with the way it turned out. Let me go fill you guys in with what I've been doing. Hey guys, well, the Harbor Blue Highboy got done repainting the front end and doing some work on the cab, and we're here at the body shop. We're at Eye Candy Rod and Customs. That's where we're getting it worked on here, and they just got done doing the cab and the bed here, or the cab and the front end, and unfortunately it's going to stay here a little bit longer. After we did that and redid the front end, the bed just isn't coming up. It isn't looking that great compared to the new paint on the cab. Let me show you. It looks really nice, and it's probably not going to show up on the camera here, but the cab and the hood just turned out a lot better, and it just made the bed just not look quite up to par. So it's going to stay here a little bit longer. We're just going to make the bed look perfect, just like the cab, and it's going to turn out a lot better. But we did get the grill put on. I got that back from paint and got it put on, and it's looking really good. So yeah, we're gonna leave this thing here a little bit longer, and we'll pick up back with it when it's back at the shop. So see you guys in. Well guys, we got the Harbor Blue Highboy out of paint for the final time this time. I promise it's not going back. This is the final time. So let's go check it out and see how it turned out. So last time we talked, we were gonna do the bed here, and we just got done finishing with the cab, and we decided just to go do the bed because it was sticking out a little bit too much, and I don't think I really described why. And then I reviewed the footage, and you really couldn't tell in the video. So I wanted to describe a little bit better why we did that, and why I took the extra time to have them redo the bed, and the extra expense when it may not be clear to you guys why I would do that. So first off, we did the front end basically because the hood and the fender was not matching the rest of the cab here as far as the shade of blue, and that's the main reason why it went back to paint. And then while it was there were some things that they weren't happy with, and they were able to fix. So luckily, well, I mean, luckily for me, well, I don't know, it did cost a lot more money, but luckily to fix this, they had to redo the door and help blend the color because the color was different. So since they did that, we were able to fix a lot of stuff with the cab that I wasn't happy with, that was kind of just, you know, yeah, it sucks, but it's, you know, it's not that bad. But since we had to do paint work on the cab anyway, we thought, well, let's just go ahead and take care of those things. Anyway, so it wasn't on this side. It was on the other side. There's a little spot with the clear that wasn't right. I think they called it solvent pops. That was right here. It's all gone now, so you know, obviously they redid the clear, and they had the bed off, and they went ahead and resprayed the back of the cab and cleared the back of the cab, where before we didn't have that done. So a lot more presentable on the back of the cab. I did repaint the back of the cab myself, and it was decent, but since we redid everything, we went ahead and did it all and cleared everything all in the same coat, so it's all a lot better quality. And there was a little bit dent right here that I didn't notice. It was behind the cab. I mean, it looked like a dent you would have from pulling the bed, but the paint wasn't messed up. So it wasn't whenever I pulled the bed to swap it on the Highboy chassis. So I don't know when it happened, if it was already there and I missed it, but there was a little bitty dent right here, and it was like I said, behind the cab, or behind the bed. It was back in here in the seam. You couldn't really see it, but since they had everything out, they fixed that for me. And whenever we looked at it last time, all the orange peel and everything was still on the cab. They didn't spray it as slick as they normally would, just to try to match the finish problems with the bed in case I decided not to go with the bed. So, you know, if they laid the cab down too slick, it would look even worse as far as the mismatch of the bed. So we still had some problems there, but since they got to redo the bed, they got to wet sand and really slick up the paint. So it turned out really nice. The finish, I am really happy with the finish. It's just 100% better than it was. So where before I was going to have to say, well, the paint isn't perfect, but it is what it is. But now I can say the paint is as good as we can make it. So really happy with how this turned out. We ended up clearing, redoing the clear on the inside of the bed, and some of the paint on the tailgate we redid, and fixed a few spots in the tailgate. So the bed is all new paint. We did leave the underside original because, you know, that's the original primer. We didn't touch any of that. It's just the exterior here. So yeah, the paint work turned out amazing. But I've been busy working on the bumpers, and I have the rear bumper put on here. This is actually a local bumper to me. These were made in Oklahoma, so it's not original to the truck, although the truck did have one that was similar to this when I got it. These bumpers are actually made in Rush Springs, Oklahoma, and I had it repainted in Corinthian white, and I painted the dealership name on the back bumper here. This is I'm not sure if this dealership did it or anything like that. This is what the dealerships did where I'm from. The smaller dealerships that maybe didn't spend the extra money to have a dealer emblem made, they just painted the name on the back of the bumper with a stencil. And so I recreated that here with this bumper here, since I don't have a dealer emblem for Chester Motors. It's a really tiny dealership. And I also added my Big Sky Montana, or Big Sky Country Montana mud flaps. And also I have a 1969 Montana plate. Although the Kenai viewers will notice that it is not the, I think it's 48 is the county that Chester's in. Maybe it's 46. But this isn't the correct county. But, you know, who's going to know that, right? I had people pointing that out to me when I posted a picture of this truck. I had no clue. But they let me know. And they actually have a few people that are looking for the correct tag for this truck. Haven't found one yet. I have the front bumper on. Let me get my little step out of the way. I was doing some work to the engine, doing some cleaning and stuff. But I have the front bumper on, and I have the grill guard mounted, and most importantly the grill. I think you saw that last time. But the truck looks really nice, and doing some cleaning work on the engine, getting ready for pictures and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna get this thing knocked out real quick. I got to get the auxiliary fuel tanks installed and everything, and hopefully we'll be taking this thing for a drive by the end of this video, and you guys get to see this thing outside in the sunlight. So let's see what happens, and I'll show you guys when I do that. All right, guys. Well, we made it to town in the Harbor Blue Highboy for the first time. Actually, this is the second time it's gone to town. The first one didn't go so well, and I didn't film that because I was stressing about getting the truck home. Had a fuel pump problem, or fuel delivery issue. Thing kept dying on me, and had to stop and crank on it, and it would fire up and go for 5 miles and then do it again. So the first one didn't go so well, but did get some test drives under it and found a problem with the fuel pump. Right now we have a new fuel pump on it, and it made it to town. So I'm hoping that means that problem's fixed, but of course I'll put some more miles on it just to make sure. But the thing is driving really good, and has done great so far. It drives really nice. I guess it should, because everything's new. But as far as the fit and finish of the cab and everything being all original, it's still nice and tight and quiet. There's no rattles and stuff in here, which is really nice. Makes a real nice, pleasant driving experience. I guess you'll see that as we do some driving here and get out of town and on the highway. But the transmission shifts real great, which I'm real happy with, and the brakes work great. Clutch works great. So all those things are good check marks, because if you have issues there, then you got to tear stuff back apart, and it's kind of a pain. But everything seems to be working out good, and the thing drives awesome. And guess I don't have any complaints other than that fuel pump. The 360 is a little underpowered, but you know, that's kind of the way things are. The 360, I can't remember what they were rated for, just over 200 horsepower or something. So it's definitely not an old 390, but it moves this truck down the road just fine. I think it cruises at about 55 really comfortably, and goes as fast as I want to go anyway in this old truck. The biggest thing I like is the electric power steering. That is a big upgrade for these things. I just can't believe how nice this thing drives with that electric power steering. And you have the knob down here. You can adjust the assist level. I actually had to turn it down. I felt like it was a little too over assisted on the highway speeds, so I turned it down a little bit. It's nice when you're like in a parking lot or something, but it's a little bit over assisted, so I actually had to turn it down. But it really makes driving this thing a real pleasure. You know, that's one bad thing about the original Highboys is the manual steering and the front axle, you know, solid front axle. They kind of don't drive all that great, especially if for one, if you have your female, your wife or your girlfriend wants to drive it or something like that, it's a little bit harder for them to control it. They can, I mean, I'm sure they can do it just fine, but like if you're in a parking lot or something and maneuvering around, or you gotta pull into a tight parking spot, it get annoying basically. But with this power steering, it makes it really nice. And of course, you can get the same level of assistance with traditional power steering with the different 78, 79 gearboxes and stuff like that. So there are different routes, and I haven't really driven a Highboy with a good 78, 79 power steering conversion on it, so I can't compare it to that. The one major thing that I like about this is it eliminates the power steering pump and all the hoses and all of that extra fluid and everything you have to worry about. It keeps it nice and simple, and it is closely mimics the original setup. So you can still get to use the original steering box and the steering arm and drag link and all that stuff. So I really like that aspect of it. So if sometime down the road somebody wanted to put the original steering back on this, all you have to do is take the electric motor off and replace that steering shaft, the drive shaft there, or the steering shaft. I guess it's not a drive shaft, but anyway, that's all you'd have to replace. So you wouldn't have a cut frame and stuff like that to deal with that you'd have to modify in other ways to go back to original. But anyway, we're out here on the highway, or county road, I guess. It's not really a highway, but we'll get it up here. We're going 55 now. Hopefully it's not too noisy in here. You get a little bit of wind noise, but as far as rattles and shakes, this thing's awful tight. It doesn't rattle at all. So I was really happy with how that turned out. Unfortunately, the radio isn't working. It turns on, but it doesn't pick up any stations, so I don't have any radio. So that's kind of a bummer. But I left it in here because it's kind of a cool vintage, you know, aftermarket radio. So that is one downside of this truck. And I guess the only other thing that I probably would have changed with you know, going back now with it all finished, something I probably would have done is just go ahead and repaint the interior. My biggest thing about this truck was how nice the original interior was, and I didn't want to ruin it because like now how quiet it is in here. I know you can get them this quiet with new parts and stuff, but the way the doors shut and the fit and finish of everything, I just love an original truck. And but there's just, you know, just wear and tear on the interior from the paint on the interior from the 50 years this truck's been used. It kind of now you can kind of notice it a lot more than I did before, where there was other issues with the truck. But I think it still looks okay. I'm still really happy with the way it turned out. But that is just one thing I thought I might change if I redid the truck. I'd probably take some more time and try to add a little bit nicer paint on the interior. You know, maybe just the dash and the kick panels, and see if we could buff the back of the cab to match. But you know, stuff, I don't know, where do you stop at that point? You might as well strip the whole thing down and do a whole restoration. And at that point, I wish I would have much rather done it to the original cab, because then it's the original cab, even though at that point it's just sheet metal. But anyway, that's just you know, that's not an option anymore, and I am happy with the way it turns out. I don't want you to think that was me not being happy with it. I'm really extremely happy with how it turns out, and I hope you guys like it too. But for now, I'm going to continue test driving this truck and making sure everything is nice and sorted out for the new owner. whenever that time comes. And pretty soon we'll be having this thing on a Bring a Trailer auction, and you guys will see the for sale video that I post once that auction goes live. If you're interested in the truck or just want to follow along in the auction, that video will be posted when the auction goes live, and we'll have a link to that video or to the auction in the video. So for now, I'm just going to enjoy this truck while I can, while I still have it. Luckily, I think it'll be about another month while I still have it, and I'm going to enjoy it every bit I can. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for following along on this build series. I know it's taken a long time. I think I was looking at old videos. It's been over a year we've been working on this project. So thank you guys for sticking around. I hope you guys enjoyed this build series, and looking forward to the numerous build series I'll have in the future. You guys will see that here on my channel, so subscribe here for more. And if you like the way this truck turned out, like this video, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it, and I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all